Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of UVTV's Boots, Books, and Bitches. We are discussing our October book club read, and it is a really important book to me and hopefully to you as well. It is called This Is What a Feminist Slut Looks Like, Perspectives on the Slut Walk Movement. Just to give you a brief history, in 2011, a police officer was reported as to have said if women didn't want to be sexually assaulted, then they should not dress provocatively. And he retracted that statement, but unfortunately, the damage was already done. And this prompted this huge movement of women who put together Le Slut Walk. And 5 to 6,000 people showed up in Queen's Park. It was like April 3rd, I think, in 2011. And they all marched and they wore various dress attire. Some people were mothers with their babies. Some people were, there were men, there were queer folks, trans folks, etc. And this book talks about the aftermath of the movement, the intersectionality of feminism, and also the perspectives from other feminists, from other sectors of feminism, and the four people who started the Slut Walk and what they did and put together in order to put that march together, and what they have done since then. So this book was written in 2015, but it carries very well into today's day, 2024. A lot of the information is still extremely relevant. And the discussion on the intersectionalities of feminism is really crucial. A lot of other feminist literature that we've read in our book club or that I've read personally discusses this briefly, but doesn't dissect it as much as this book. It's usually like mentioned, that there is like the pantsuit feminist, for example, which is a section of feminism that is more on the white side. And then there are other sections of feminism as well that seem to leave out minorities, such as BIPOC, queer folk, trans folk, etc. The book also goes into this idea of or the concept of language and how important language is and the effects that it has on other people. And a lot of people who have like negative things to say about the Slut Walk, which is interesting, they have put in some essays and articles that were like negative reports, because obviously some people are offended by that word. And there's a huge discussion on whether or not we can reclaim language. The main consensus is that no matter what a word, certain word or meaning has to you, we have to be gentle, curious, and I guess open to discussing that with other people, because there are other people that have a different experience with the word. So there's a whole chapter in the book on the history of the word slut, the vernacular, where it came from. It is mainly an English word. Some cultures and some languages have an equivalent and some don't, or some kind of go in a different direction when it comes to how they would address women. And a lot of even in the English translations, they don't necessarily always have to do with like sexual promiscuity. A lot of them have to do with when the word first came up, when the word first came about, a lot of them have to do with like cleanliness, being clean, keeping a clean house, which I guess also is a huge part of feminism, which is, the whole concept that women belong in the kitchen or in domestic roles. So that's pretty much the gist of the book. It's absolutely fantastic. And I love that they really just dove into how important the Slut Walk was, what it did really well, but also what it didn't do really well and what it needs to do to improve. And one of the main things is including more minorities in this discussion on the words and the vernacular, and also the marches and things that we're putting together to actually fight, I guess you could say, the patriarchy, if you will. So great book, fantastic. It's sort of written in like an anthology perspective. There's like different articles, there's some poems in here, there's some great photos and pictures. All the works are cited. As someone who's neurodivergent, it is a really great read. I love reading like small snippets of things. Nothing is too like diluted or overdrawn or overdone. And I really love that this is one of the first feminist books I've read that is just really getting nuanced and not just making sweeping statements. They're getting really nuanced into vernacular, into people's personal experiences, and into how we can improve and actually do better. Highly recommend this book. And also, it is like based on Toronto and Toronto history. And even though it wasn't that long ago, there are always times where I'm like, we need another slut walk. Whether or not that's something that resonates, I think it's definitely worth a read. I found this one at She Said Boom, used bookstore in Roncy, for under $10, but you can definitely get it on Kindle for under $10 as well, or it's under $20 if you wanted to buy the paperback copy. So highly recommend, and hopefully you'll read along with us and tell us what you think in the comments if you've read the book or if you're planning on reading the book. Definitely want to hear what you think. So let me know.